I said, yeah, because I really like Chris Robinson's vocals. I thought he was tremendous, and I knew he was tremendous.
The guitar god who gave us Stairway to Heaven has finally spoken.
The idea of Stairway was to have a piece of music, a composition.
And his choices will absolutely shock you. Jimmy Page, the mastermind behind Led Zeppelin's legendary sound, has remained notoriously tight-lipped about his personal musical heroes for decades. But in a series of rare interviews and private conversations that have leaked to the music world, we now know the 6 songs that shaped rock history's most influential guitarist. And let me tell you, these aren't the picks you'd expect from the man who created some of the most iconic riffs ever recorded. One of his choices caused a massive rift in the rock community, with fellow guitar legends calling it pretentious and completely out of left field. Another selection allegedly made Robert Plant question everything he thought he knew about his longtime bandmate's musical taste. These aren't just songs, people. They're the secret DNA of rock and roll itself, the hidden influences that created the sound that defined a generation. From blues masters to unexpected pop revelations, Page's list reveals a musical mind far more complex and controversial than anyone imagined. But before we dive into the mind-blowing revelations that will change how you hear Led Zeppelin forever, smash that like button and let's count down Jimmy Page's 6 favorite songs of all time. 6. Baby Please Don't Go by Big Joe Williams. Coming in at number 6 is a choice that sent shockwaves through the blues community.
Baby, please don't.
Big Joe Williams' raw, primal recording of Baby Please Don't Go. Now, you might be thinking, wait, didn't Led Zeppelin cover this? And you'd be absolutely right, but here's where it gets juicy. According to sources close to Page, he allegedly discovered this track during his musician days and described it as, "The moment I realized guitar could be a weapon, not just an instrument." The story goes that Page was so obsessed with Williams' 9-string guitar technique.
I really love all guitar playing. That's exactly the thing, hearing guitarists when I was a kid, and just
that he spent months trying to decode the mystery behind that haunting, almost violent sound. But here's the controversial part. Music historians have pointed out that Page's version with Led Zeppelin completely transformed the song's meaning. While Williams's original was a desperate plea rooted in Delta blues tradition, Page turned it into something altogether more aggressive and sexual. Blues purists were not happy about this transformation, with some calling it cultural appropriation disguised as tribute. The technical brilliance Page admires is undeniable, though. Williams's unconventional tuning and his ability to make one guitar sound like an entire orchestra clearly influenced Page's layered approach to recording. You can hear echoes of this track in everything from Black Dog to The Ocean. Industry insiders claim Page once said this song taught him that authenticity isn't about perfection. It's about emotion so raw, it makes people uncomfortable. And uncomfortable it certainly made the rock establishment when they realized their Guitar Hero's foundation was built on something this beautifully brutal. 5. Link Wray, Rumble. At number 5, we have a pick that divided fans and critics alike. Link Wray's groundbreaking instrumental, Rumble. This choice allegedly left many scratching their heads, wondering how a 3-chord instrumental could influence the architect of Kashmir and Whole Lotta Love. But according to music industry insiders, Page has described this track as the birth of heavy metal, before anyone knew what heavy metal was.
But the first time I heard the Rumble, it was like, that was something that had so much profound attitude to it.
It really does.
It really does.
The story goes that Page first heard Rumble as a teenager and was mesmerized by Ray's use of distortion and feedback.
To anything with the guitar on when I was a kid, you know,
techniques that were practically revolutionary in 1958. One alleged quote from Page's inner circle suggests he said, "Link Wray proved you didn't need to be technically perfect to move mountains." The controversy stems from what some critics call Page's revisionist history. Guitar purists argued that crediting a simple rockabilly instrumental with influencing Led Zeppelin's complex compositions was either false modesty or a desperate attempt to seem more underground than he actually was. Rolling Stone's critics particularly savaged this choice, calling it pretentious name-dropping. However, the technical influence is undeniable. Ray's deliberate use of amp distortion and his aggressive attack on the strings can be heard throughout Led Zeppelin's catalog. Music historians point to Rumble as the first rock record to use distortion as a primary element rather than an accident. Industry whispers suggest that Page's admiration for Ray created tension with other session musicians who considered the choice too primitive for someone of Page's caliber. But Page allegedly stood firm, claiming that Rumble taught him that power trumps complexity every single time. 4. Muddy Waters, I Can't Be Satisfied. The fourth spot delivers a bombshell that had the blues community in an uproar. Muddy Waters, I Can't Be Satisfied.
I'm gonna let some graveyard lord be her resting place. Woman, I'm trouble.
While this might seem like an obvious choice for any blues-influenced guitarist, Page's reasoning allegedly shocked even his closest collaborators. According to sources who spoke with Page during Led Zeppelin's recording sessions, he described this track as the moment electricity met soul and created something dangerous.
Yeah, okay.
What'd you say to that?
Well, I think that's really good, personally.
Okay.
I'm going to grade that as a 10.
The story goes that Page discovered this 1948 recording in a dusty record shop and became obsessed with Waters' slide guitar technique and that haunting, almost desperate vocal delivery. But here's where the drama unfolds. Music journalists revealed that Page's fascination with this particular Waters track created serious tension within Led Zeppelin. Robert Plant allegedly felt that Page was living in the past and wanted to push beyond traditional blues structures. John Paul Jones reportedly called Page's obsession with recreating Waters' sound creatively limiting. The technical mastery Page admires is evident in Waters' use of electric slide guitar, a technique that would become central to tracks like In My Time of Dying and T for One. Guitar experts note that Waters' aggressive attack and his ability to make the guitar cry directly influenced Page's own slide work. Industry insiders claim Page once said this song taught him that authenticity comes from struggle, not from studio polish. The irony wasn't lost on critics who pointed out that Led Zeppelin's multi-layered production was the complete opposite of Waters' raw, immediate sound. This contradiction allegedly haunted Page throughout his career. 3. Bert Yanch, Black Waterside. At number 3 comes the most controversial and legally explosive choice on Page's list. Bert Yanch's haunting folk masterpiece, Black Waterside.
Well, then go home to your father's garden.
This selection sent shockwaves through both the folk and rock communities, but not for the reasons you might expect. According to music industry sources, Page allegedly described this track as the song that taught me guitar could be orchestral.
And some of the stuff that he'd done with Purple, but more so on that album. And I thought it'd be interesting to see how we get on.
The story goes that Page discovered Yanch's intricate finger-picking style in the mid-1960s and became completely obsessed with the Scottish folk guitarist's ability to create multiple melodies simultaneously on a single acoustic guitar. But here's where things get messy. Folk purists were absolutely livid when they realized that Led Zeppelin's Black Mountain Side was essentially a direct adaptation of Yanch's arrangement. The controversy exploded when Yanch himself allegedly said in a rare interview that he felt ripped off by Page's failure to credit him properly. Legal tensions reportedly simmered for years between the two camps. Music historians point out that Page's admiration for Yanch's work represents a fascinating contradiction. Here was rock's most famous electric guitarist drawing inspiration from intimate acoustic folk traditions. The technical brilliance Page absorbed is evident in his use of alternate tunings and his ability to layer multiple guitar parts to create orchestral textures. Industry whispers suggest that Page's obsession with Yanch created friction with his blues-loving peers who couldn't understand why he was wasting time on folk music. But Page allegedly stood firm, claiming that Yanch showed him how to make one guitar sound like an entire symphony. 2. Elvis Presley, That's All Right. The second spot delivers a revelation that left the rock establishment speechless. Elvis Presley's That's All Right. This choice allegedly caused such a stir that fellow guitar legends questioned whether Page had lost his mind or was playing some elaborate joke on the music press. According to sources close to Page, he described this 1954 Sun Records recording as the moment everything changed forever. The story goes that Page was fascinated not by Elvis's vocals, but by Scotty Moore's revolutionary guitar work. Those clean, ringing notes that bridged country and blues in a way nobody had heard before. Page allegedly said this track taught him that restraint could be more powerful than distortion. The backlash was swift and brutal. Metal magazines accused Page of selling out to nostalgia, while blues purists claimed he was betraying his roots. Even more damaging were the rumors that Robert Plant was furious about Page's choice, allegedly feeling that his frontman contributions were being minimized in favor of guitar worship. But music historians validate Page's technical admiration. Moore's clean, precise playing style and his use of echo effects can be heard throughout Led Zeppelin's catalog, particularly in the cleaner sections of Stairway to Heaven and Going to California. The influence runs deeper than most realize. Industry insiders claim Page once said this song proved that revolution doesn't always come from volume. The irony wasn't lost on critics who noted that the man who created some of rock's heaviest moments was inspired by one of its most delicate. This contradiction allegedly became a source of creative tension that drove Page's entire career. 1. Dick Dale, Misirlou. And here it is, the ultimate revelation that broke the internet. Dick Dale's explosive surf rock masterpiece, Misirlou, claims the top spot. This choice sent the entire music world into absolute chaos, with fans and critics alike questioning everything they thought they knew about Jimmy Page's musical soul. According to leaked conversations from Page's inner circle, he allegedly described this track as the moment I realized guitar could be pure electricity and emotion.
Of that, you know, those things, but listening to all these guys playing bending string stuff, there was this element in the equation.
The story goes that Page discovered Dale's lightning-fast picking technique and reverb-drenched sound in the early 1960s and became obsessed with what he called organized chaos. Page supposedly said this song taught him that speed without soul is nothing, but soul with speed is everything. The confession sent shockwaves through rock history. Here was the man behind Whole Lotta Love and Black Dog, admitting that a surf rock instrumental was his ultimate inspiration. Music critics went ballistic, calling it the most pretentious choice in rock history, while others defended it as brilliantly unexpected. The technical DNA is undeniable, though. Dale's rapid-fire alternate picking and his pioneering use of reverb and tremolo effects flow directly through Led Zeppelin's heaviest moments. Listen to Immigrant Song or Communication Breakdown, and you'll hear Dale's influence screaming through every note. Industry legends like Jeff Beck and Eric Clapton allegedly validated Page's choice, with Beck reportedly saying Dale invented heavy before heavy existed. The revelation that this Mediterranean-influenced surf track was the secret foundation of hard rock's most influential guitarist proves that musical genius often comes from the most unexpected places. So there you have it, the 6 songs that shaped a guitar legend, and his #1 pick absolutely demolished everything we thought we knew about Jimmy Page. What do you think about that surf rock shocker? Let me know in the comments which song surprised you most, and don't forget to subscribe for more rock history secrets.